But if nobody's available, okay, I see one hand. Okay. Mr. Anthony. Okay. Greetings to you.
Hello, how are
Thank you.
you?
I'm fine. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you too. Okay, so well, I've been on several of your platform, and I always come here to gather inspiration for one or two things that I'm working on. In our markets today, a lot of things are below the line type of things, meaning that people who are online are just online to, should I say, view things and comment and things. We don't really have a lot of people using the online channel as a means to buy things or close a deal for that matter.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm actively listening. I'm actively listening so I can provide my own feedback. So yes, go on.
Okay. So what typically happens is when you have a business that is mainly online, what strategies can you employ to get your customers evolving from doing things directly offline to coming online and trusting that when they pay, they'll get their product?
Okay. So what you're talking about, there's a fundamental of entrepreneurship that I teach, right? So when it comes to growth in the business and doing things better, like I said, there's a better way. There are approaches to strategy that is incremental in terms of what is tactical now that I can just do. But I prefer going back to the drawing board, because pulling back and going back to the drawing board is really where you're going to be able to unlock what is going wrong and what you could be doing better. Okay? Because we're always looking for quick fixes. Sometimes you might get a quick fix, but what I've seen that is transformational is when you're not getting the results that you're desiring in your business. What I always recommend is it's better to strip things back and then, almost like an investigator, you have to look, right? It's like if you take your car to the dealership, your car is making a noise, it's not functioning as it could. We would always hope it's a quick fix, right? But when you take it in, they would diagnose, right? So that process of diagnosis might actually lead you to see that what you think is the issue. And in listening to you, what I've heard is that there's a certain conclusion you've arrived at, that people online are not looking to complete transaction online. That's what I've heard you, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Is that true? You're right. That's your conclusion.
Well, per our, should I say, months of trading and seeing how sales are going, you see that there are a lot more sales happening within a physical space than a digital space.
Okay.
And the things that are being sold in the digital space are not,
okay,
they are just fewer things,
Right, but I'm going to call you out, because these are the mindset of an entrepreneur thing we need to watch out. Everything I'm hearing you say right now, you're putting the responsibility and the blame on the consumer behavior, right? Versus putting everything stops at the feet of the entrepreneur, which is why the question I think you could be asking would be, is there a better way for me to market on digital that is different from physical so I can get a better result on online? Because the moment you arrive at a conclusion that the customer is the problem, you are not going to move forward because there's nothing you can do about that customer. But the moment you bring the responsibility back to you, that means you will be in search. Other people making money online, what are they doing that I'm not doing? Is there a better way that we can sell online that I've not adopted? That's a different mindset that will lead you to a different answer. But as long as you get to a point and you start saying there's something that the customers online exhibit a certain behavior and they're not buying, it's their fault, you will lock yourself into a vicious cycle that if you don't break that circle, you cannot grow. Right?
Totally agree.
Right. So a better way.
So.
Yes, sir. Go on.
So I mean, my thinking is that because you want to build and grow and then scale the business, you definitely have to learn from the insights that you currently have. And like you are saying, you need to be asking questions around what you should be doing to unlock that customer trust of closing transactions on online.
The insights are great, but the interpretation of the insights is even more important.
Okay.
So the insights is indicating that you are seeing better results in your business in one channel. So this is a channel strategy. So one thing that in entrepreneurship we need to understand that online versus in-store is a sales channel strategy. Okay, so it's about sales channels and which channel is getting you better results than the other. So from an entrepreneurship standpoint, when you go back to the drawing board and you're saying we sell through different channels, in fact, in sales channel strategy, you may find out that, let's say you have 50 stores, in physical 50 stores. The data might also tell you certain stores are outperforming the other. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the city. You're supposed to dig deeper and ask why. Why, like WHY is something an entrepreneur needs to get clear with. If you see data, I have a first degree in mathematics, so I understand insights and data. When you see data, don't conclude on anything. Just say, wow, this is interesting. And then ask, why is this happening this way? In fact, you can conduct a survey, because if you've concluded without asking why, you won't know. You think you know why it is, but you've not really asked the question because you've concluded. But before you conclude in any type of research, gather enough data, do enough deep research before you conclude. So back to what I was saying before, what I always recommend is go back to the drawing board. Never say, okay, the customer is the problem. Customers are never the problem. Now, I also teach in terms of understanding the mindset of your customer, but your customers are never the problem. I know what I'm saying. They are not the problem.
I think so too.
Okay, because
I think so too.
But many entrepreneurs make the customer the problem. They judge. In fact, there's a class I taught. I say never judge. Don't judge them. Seek to understand them. Go on.
Yeah. So you seek to understand them. I think that fundamentally, so is there like, can you give me one or two examples of activities that an entrepreneur can take to use to understand the customer, the customer's mindset or this persona?
Yes, definitely. So on my website, toyinmesiri.com, there's actually a customer insights guide and workbook, because this is an exercise. This is a deep exercise every entrepreneur needs to complete. And I'll share a few things from that workbook, right? In terms of your customers, right? What do they need from you? The answers most of the time, you have to know that you don't have these answers. They do. And if you're not asking them, you're making assumptions. The person that will pay for your product or your services, okay, you need to understand them, which means you need to do research, get in touch with them and ask them specific questions, which is inside the workbook. Like, one of it is you clearly trying to understand what are their needs, right? What are their needs? Because if you've developed a solution and you put it on your website, what if that's not what they need that you've put on your website? But let's say if they come into a store and they see someone, they are able to ask questions physically, and your staff in a physical store is able to remove all their hesitations. But online, they have hesitations, they have questions, but there's nobody there online to help them. So when you realize that, if they tell you that's the problem, that as I'm trying to buy this, I have questions, but nobody's there to answer my questions, that's why I decide not to buy. That's why I walk away. Because here's the key. As long as you receive visitors to your website, that means there's an initial interest in your website. The issue you're facing right now is a conversion strategy. When X number of people visit your website, what percentage of them close a deal, close a sale, complete a transaction? Why are you losing the number of people? Because in today's world, many people don't even visit websites. So if they visit your website, that means they saw something brought them there. That means they are a lead, right? So in the sales funnel strategy, that is a solid lead. Anybody that visits a website today, because everybody lives on social media, Instagrams, Facebook, LinkedIn, right? If somebody takes the time to click on a link to pursue getting more information on a website, that is a lead, is a very strong indicator that they are interested in something. Now, when they get there and they don't find enough information, and something is not structured properly on that website, and they are looking for something and they don't find it, they will go back. They won't take an action, because buying is something we do consciously. And that's why investing in copywriting, research, all of those things, particularly online. So online businesses, they do differently than physical stores, right? It's buying with words. There are certain things you have to optimize on a website for it to convert. So back to the topic of the day, there is a better way to structure a website that will lead to conversion. You have to know that. And there are strategies that is deployed online that is not deployed in a physical store. Because in a physical store, it's a different experience. You have humans right there that can intercept, they can ask questions, they can get clarifications. And when they have clarification, they get it, they are able to complete the transaction. Okay?
So how just a follow-up, how would you, so the situation where, and this is just an example, over a very long time, cars were being sold through dealerships. And everybody bought their cars to a dealer or the other. But my very good friend Elon Musk makes his electric car and decides to sell his cars online, and everybody thought that may not be a good strategy.
Okay.
In the remarkable turn of events, the number of sales he has got for the sales online has just surpassed what any dealer would have thought they would even do in a year or in 2 years.
Okay.
And so for me, I'm wondering if it is a factor of the type of service or the demand for the product, or it's the fact that you put it online. I'm just trying to figure out what would drive the customer.
Okay.
Towards that kind of.
This is why this is why I really, really want people to be very, very careful. Okay. In listening to you right now, I think you jumped to a certain conclusion. You went to share Elon Musk, but the question I have for you is, do you know what Elon Musk did to get the results he got? Do you know the capacity he deployed to get the results he got? Do you know the marketing budget he got? Do you know the power and the influence he has to get that result? When entrepreneurs start making this comparison without depth of insight and knowledge in terms of how did Elon get that result, you're seeing the outcome. It's like you're seeing a farmer the day the farmer is reaping harvest, and you see him carrying bountiful harvest, and lorries and trailers are moving the harvest, and you're like, wow, if Elon Musk can do it, if this farmer can get that result, I can as well, without really asking, when did he plant? What type of seed did he plant? Which fertilizer did he use? How did he employ this? When the right, you're not asking the techniques that is required for you to actually get that harvest that Elon Musk. This is the damage people do to themselves. They say, oh, I'm Amazon, oh, I'm this, without understanding what did they do to get that result. What resources, how much did they even spend to be able to do that? How many employees and engineers and PhD scientists did they employ to get that result? On the surface, we are comparing apples to oranges, and it doesn't work that way. That's one of the biggest damages I see to entrepreneurship, is that Instagram and all of these platforms, they make entrepreneurship flashy. And then people jump into entrepreneurship making assumptions that it's easy, that I can do what Jeff Bezos is doing, I can do what this person is doing. But I say entrepreneurship humbles everybody until you do what Elon Musk did and understand the strategy he deployed, which is why I'm saying people should be pursuing, going deeper, not staying on the surface and of the results and outcomes they are seeing other people, but to dig deeper and ask these deep questions of how. How did Elon Musk, what story did he tell? How did he brand Tesla? What story, how did he convince people? Because he did, I agree with you, he did something that industry hasn't done. That industry, he broke ground in that industry. The question is, how did he do it? How did he pull it off? How did he convince the market to make those changes? That is what I would be more interested in, because in the how is when you start uncovering strategies that you can then deploy. But if you are just seeing someone reaping and you don't ask those type of questions, or you don't learn and go into the how, then we want to replicate results without strategy.
It'll be difficult.
Right. And so for me, at the Entrepreneur Academy, we go back to the drawing board. Okay, there are 5 phases of customer relationship. Identifying your customers. There's a deep research that, the guide supports my members there, and you can learn more at toyinmesri.com, is that you need to get down into the understanding, identifying who your customers are. And when I say identify, again, many people try to stay at the surface of simplicity. On identifying them, there's a customer profile that you have to design. Who is this person that is likely to go online? What money do they make? Like, what's their revenue, right? Identifying them, profiling them, and understanding your ideal customer. You have to do that work. Understanding them is their mindset. What are they looking for? Is the website going to make their life easier? Is it saving them time? You have to go into all of these dynamics, right? Before you then start saying my product or my service can help them. But most times people have concluded that your product and your services can help them, but you concluded, but they have to make that, they have to also agree with you and conclude that they need what you're offering before they will ever pay for it. Right? Buying behavior, you and I buy because we want something, because we need something, because we believe that ABCD will do XYZ for us. Your customers and your clients, they do the same thing. So we may conclude that they need it, but if they do not conclude the same, they are not buying. So our job as entrepreneurs is to help them arrive at that conclusion. And to arrive at that conclusion, even your messaging. So there's another process at the academy. We talk about your marketing strategy, your sales strategy, your content strategy. Is that even if you're doing marketing and you're putting flyers out there, if the words and things you're communicating miss the mark on your website, it doesn't convert as well. Right? So many things, right? So it's what we teach is a 360 approach to entrepreneurship. Go back to the drawing board, look at entire, like it's a series of questions looking at the entire business operation so that you can find what needs to be optimized. And optimization means making it better, making your understanding your customers better, right? Your marketing strategy better, sales strategy better, consistently. All of these things, we must be pursuing improvements, right? But as long as we think something is wrong with the customer, which is where we started from, what you have control over, you're not improving. Customers that you don't have control over, you're putting the blame on them. But they have to arrive at a conclusion that they need what it is that you have and what it is you're offering. If they don't arrive at that conclusion, they're not bringing out their money, they're not spending their money. Nobody goes out there just saying, oh, let me just buy. No, we buy because we agree that I want this. In fact, we buy in 2 stages. We buy with emotion first, right? My emotion desires it first. That's why I always say passion sells, desire buys. You and I, as people who spend money, right? That we buy things, we are all, right? We first say to ourselves, I want that. And then the next buying is logical. Oh, my budget. Oh, do I have budget for that? Right? But you've already bought it with your heart. Your heart already concluded you want an iPhone. The next stage is now, okay, let me save money, or let me take money, right? That's the second. We buy 2 times. We buy with our hearts, I want it. The second time is, okay, let me plan for the financial commitment that this requires. That's the second buy. Right? Go on, please.
Perfect. And so, of course, you have typically, if you have an e-commerce business, you have a very wide. You can't go about defining a very small sample space of customers.
Who said that? Who said that? You. I think you just said another statement of conclusion. Who said that?
Okay.
No, I'm asking. Like
okay, I'm learning something here. I'm learning something here because depending on what you are saying to yourself, you might actually be in pushing yourself towards a certain in a certain direction, which may or may not be counterproductive to you.
The key is until you do research. Like I just say, people just need to be not for anybody else, but for yourself. Don't arrive at any conclusion without due diligence. Right? Until you become an expert, don't claim to be an expert in your own business. Until you become the expert in your industry, until you are the leader in your industry, don't behave like you're the leader. But if you want to be the leader, then pursue what leaders do. So it's mindset as well as the entrepreneur, is that there's a conflict. We think we've arrived when we haven't. So entrepreneurship actually calls for humility and a gentleness in taking the steps that we take. And we need to approach each step with questions, not conclusions. Because in fact, you are putting me to work. You are putting me to work because you are approaching me with conclusions. But you're not approaching me with, why is this happening? And so what's happening? So let me say, within me right now, culturally speaking, I prefer not to interrupt your conclusions. Okay, like culturally speaking, if someone comes to you and say, I know this, you just sit down and say, okay, since you know it, you leave. It means the person is closed off. When you arrive at the conclusion, you've actually built a wall around you, and you are asking external people that are bringing you solution to break down a wall. It's not my job to break down your wall of conclusions.
Okay.
So you are putting me, I'm calling this out because, generally speaking, entrepreneurs should be more open, more assuming that they don't know, more of a student, a life student of and I know you are, that's why I'm speaking this, but there are just some things in the way that could really skyrocket what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I really appreciate the because when I hear you, when I'm listening to you, I can relate directly with everything you are saying.
And I know you can receive it. That's why I'm dishing it out. I know you really are genuinely, but if it's another person, I'll be more reserved, right? Because again, that's why I'm calling it out, is that I'm doing more work because I'm trying to break down the wall you've erected for yourself. And I'm telling you, if it's not me, most people around you, I bet they cannot challenge you. Right? Most people, because in your space, right, there are two things you're doing. Number one, you are innovating in your space, and so there might not be enough answers. Many people may not have gone through what you're going through, so you are literally navigating by yourself. But there's also a posturing, and I suspect today your team will be suffering for that posturing. That posturing is, I know. And the moment anybody postures as I know, people around you cannot help anymore. They can't offer their insights, because if they offer it to you, you might say, I know already. If they say we could do this better, you say, I know already. Slowly, they will just be saying, yes, sir. You say this is, you say, yes, sir. They leave you alone. That's something to watch out for.
Well, I came to the hospital for medicine, so I think I'm getting it.
It's just, no, these are just, when I talk about mindset of an entrepreneur in general, is that it's what I've just seen is that, like, the entire process of entrepreneurship, right? It breaks so many things in us, right? Because we start realizing that we are just serving. We are here to serve the world, right? You realize that it's not about me, right? Because as long as you think it's about you, you will be using so much energy and pumping and grinding so much, and you will be burning yourself to the ground. But when you realize it's about them, that there are people out there suffering without knowledge, without information, without the capacity, without your tools, and our job is to offer them a way out with our products and our solution, all of a sudden the assignment is easier to bear. All of a sudden we will go out there and we'll start asking them questions. How are you today? Right? Whoever it is you are trying to serve, you should be spending significant time with them. You should be in their world. You should be seeing what they're going through. It's not but as long as you stay in your own office and you are designing things, they are the ones to use it. They are the ones to pay you. They are the ones to say thank you. They are the ones to, right? It's all about them, actually. It's about them. It's not about me. That's why I'm here. Right? that the academy and the solution and the classes and the masterclass, I already know what I know. But the people who need to know that are suffering, if I stay in my nice space in Chicago and I don't come online, will I serve you? If I don't come and listen to you, will I serve you? If I don't understand the struggle, will I serve you? The reason I show up on digital is to create that channel of communication two-way that I will offer and say, this is what I do. I have done it for this, right? These are the solutions. And I know many people are struggling, but guess what? Here's also what I know that led me to create this room and discussion today. Many people are not pursuing better way to build, grow, and scale their businesses because they believe they already know what they need. And that's a lie. That's false. Because if you actually know what Elon Musk knows, you should be getting his results as well. You should be doing what Elon Musk is doing.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's really true.
Right. But we all do this. We all do this. We all arrive at this conclusion. And when somebody like myself steps into an arena to offer information, you realize that most people following, they come at it with, it's not new. I've read it here before. They don't really understand the impact that true wisdom and knowledge is. Like telling Harvard, why do I need to go to Harvard? Is it not right? I've already gone to school, right? That's it. That's what's happening. So my duty, which is part of the exercise I teach entrepreneurs, our job is to eliminate blind spots for our customers, because there are many people that could be using your website that actually need your services, but they are also concluding that they don't need you. What are you going to do with them? That's what I call the customer blind spot. You're going to have to message to them and educate them on why they need you, so that because they have to arrive at a conclusion that they need you before they spend their money. Nobody's spending their money to buy what they don't need. So the job of an entrepreneur is to engineer desire. That's one of the things I teach at the academy as well. And there, like I shared at toyinyumesiri.com, you can access workbooks, different workbooks, the entrepreneur's workbook, my ebook, the mindset of an entrepreneur, and then the academy itself covers everything, right? End to end of business development, from idea, your customers, your products, your services, your business model, your value proposition. These are all technical ways of structuring business. That's why I said there's a better way. There's a better, cheaper way. Before I explain that, what I mean, let me give you an opportunity to also react to what I just shared now. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it's spot on, and as an entrepreneur, I think that for me in particular, because my primary training is in technology, I seem to spend a lot of time innovating and ideating within my space. And so spending that much time with teams and even the people who will be using the solutions at the end, maybe oops.
Go on.
Yeah.
Are you still with us? Oh, I hope we're not losing you. Okay, let me pick it up, and then when Mr. Tony returns to us, we'll let him continue. We lost him there. Please feel free to come up again, right, to complete your thoughts there. So what you were saying in terms of having a background in technology, engineering, spending more time in the solution, that's typical. That's typical, because particularly with your background. But one of the things I try to get new entrepreneurs to understand is to build a standard, like a solid venture, okay? you need not just a product, because the engineering team is building the product. Okay? Why you build the product, who you're building the product for, how the product is going to be used, that's one. But to build a successful business, you also need marketing to pick up the story, make sure they market that product, right? You need to tell the story, branding of why that product exists. And I've shared this before, of understanding the 3 messages you need to bring to the marketplace: your brand story, your marketing, right? Your marketing message, the product or service message. You need that. You need to design your pricing strategy. You'll need to understand demand and supply, basic understanding of economics terms like demand and supply. Don't be a supply for what there's no demand. It's really fundamental. This is one of the courses at the Entrepreneur Academy. There are over 20 courses there, all really to build, grow, and scale your business, right? Basic economic terms like demand and supply. Every entrepreneur should understand that you want to be the supply to what is in demand. And if there's no demand for your supply, you almost have to leverage heavy investment in marketing, right, to get people to be interested. And that journey is an uphill. It's an uphill journey, because I always joke that if you're a dentist, you don't really have to educate everybody enough, because the industry, we've all been educated from birth that we need to brush, we need dentists we already know what a dentist can do for us. That's a sweet spot for a dentist. The dentist doesn't have to explain to me or to you, I am a dentist, this is the job that I do. We already know. But as an entrepreneur in a space, you have to educate your potential customers and clients, that is your followers on digital. You have to educate them every single day around what it is you do. Because until they understand what it is that you do, or what solutions you can deliver for them, they will not see you. And if they do not see you, if they do not if they do not see you, and if they do not understand you, and if they do not agree that they need what it is you're providing, they will not buy. Like, it's not just that they might not buy, it's that they will not buy, because we only buy when several things are true. And those are the things like at the Business and Leadership Academy, now the Entrepreneur Academy. That's the better way, is that we must approach entrepreneurship as a student in pursuit of acquiring the knowledge base that will help us build our businesses better, right? Grow it faster and scale it as well. Now, before I was also going to, this is my conclusion now, in terms of there's also a cheaper way to build, grow, and scale. But most people, unknowing to them, they are investing in the long route. The long route is to do it yourself, and you learn on the job, right? And over time, hopefully, and this is not always true, but over time, hopefully you're going to learn through your own mistakes, trial and error. But here's what also may happen, and it happens a lot. The journey that is supposed to get better over time gets worse. If you don't learn the principles, the foundations, right, the business development concepts that I teach, you might still go 5 years in, and I've seen this, and you still have so much more to learn. Right? So the question is, will you learn it quickly, the better way to build, grow, and scale? Or do you want to go the long route, the next 2, 3, 4 years, figure it out yourself, and still have questions on your mind? That's what I'll leave you with today. If there are no more questions, I'm going to go ahead and close the room today. And thank you so much again for being here. Feel free to reach out if you have any other questions. It's been a pleasure. My name is Toyin Umesiri. Please do find out more at toyinumesiri.com, www.toyinumesiri.com. There you can find information about the Entrepreneur Academy and lots of resources, workbooks, ebooks that is available to those who want to learn how to build, grow, and scale their businesses faster. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Bye.